Hey guys, what's up? It's Ripe again. In today's video, a Karen gets hired as a junior manager and thinks that she is in charge of the entire company and knows more than anybody else. She ends up attacking a veteran who also happens to be the owner of the company. Here is what happened. Let's dive right in. And the first one starts like this. This story is not about me exactly, though I did have a front row seat to the whole ordeal. I work for a decent-sized retail company that stocks military and outdoor type gear. The sort of places hunters like to go to when they want to buy camouflage clothing or hikers when they want rugged backpacks, tents and the like. Our most common type of visitors are service personnel who come looking for better alternatives to the cheap crap they get issued. We are pretty well stocked on this sort of equipment because the owner of our company is a military veteran himself. I'm just a low-level retail assistant myself, a part-time employee in college. I will mostly stock shelves and work the tills, and being so low-level, I was in the direct firing line for Karen's power trips. I was not too bothered by her myself. She would just get moody at me for not stacking the shelves exactly how she wants or get me to run around after her doing crappy chores. And well, I was just there to earn money and only worked a couple of hours during the week and a day during the weekends, but the other guys, the full-time staff, absolutely hated her. I'm not entirely sure how she got the junior manager position, which is more like an assistant to the general manager. Rumors went around that she was the wife of one of the managers from another store. After she had been working with us for a month or so, the common rumor was that she blacked her way into the position. There were other suggestions and rumors about her using sexual favors, but that was laughed out of the building almost as soon as it was suggested. Who the hell would want to go anywhere near Karen? Karen was not with the company for long when pretty much every conversation in the break room turned into who could tell the best story about the dumb stuff Karen had done. The most common story, and the one that pretty much came up every time, was the one about her thinking she knew more than an actual military veteran about what type of camo they use. The guy came in one Saturday morning asking if there were any MTP day sacks, as we only seem to have the basic olive drab ones out on the shop floor. Karen overhears this and tells the guy that olive drab are standard issue in the military and the day sacks on the shop floor were authentic issued gear. Anyone who's only ever done basic training will know that day sacks are not standard issue, and the military actually issues rocket pouches, which are bloody awful, which is why the first thing a freshly trained squaddy will get is a day sack and decent boots. And by the way, Ripe Stars, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this story is from the UK. A lot of the terminology sounds very British, but I could be mistaken. Anyway, this guy goes on to tell Karen that he knows what he's talking about and he needs MTP to fit in with the rest of the uniform, otherwise his bosses won't let him use it. Karen does not budge an inch, desperate to sell on these olive drab day sacks. The guy ends up leaving empty-handed and threatening to forward a complaint to the business owner. Things like this happened quite often, and not just with members of the public, but with members of staff as well. She went around thinking she knew more about the company, the business and our target clientele, more than guys that have been with the company for years. It basically got to the point where if the general manager had to be away for anything at all, the staff would not even come into work. They would phone in sick or just not bother turning up using the age-old excuse, "Oh, I didn't realize I was on today. I'm on the other side of the country. Sorry." One Saturday, it was literally just me and Karen. That was the worst day of my life, as Karen didn't do anything herself. She was the manager. It was not her job to run around doing all the crappy chores. So basically, I clocked out early on that day. Things got so bad that the actual owner of the company decided to step in, managing the store for a while to see what the problem was. And then also how to resolve it. We all knew what the problem was. It was Karen. No one knew anything about this until we tipped up to work to find our general manager not opening up, but some other guy in a wheelchair. I was told later in the break room that he was the owner of the company. I remember thinking that the things were finally going to change for the better, but I was not prepared for the storm that was to come before then. Karen was not due to start work until the afternoon, so she missed the entire morning brief and had no idea what was going on. Even now, I wonder if this was not planned. So she comes in expecting to find the usual general manager, but instead she is greeted by the business owner. She was a bit iffy about it, but went about as if it were business as usual. The owner introduced himself simply as the general manager's substitute for a while to assess the store. I could tell by the look on Karen's face that she was not happy about it, but I don't think she realized who she was dealing with, as she kept trying to undermine the owner when he was asking us to set up displays a certain way, and got particularly upset when she asked us to rearrange the displays to what she wanted, but we refused to listen to her. At the end of the day, I would listen to the owner over a junior manager any day of the week. And well, things came to a head when Karen thought it would be a good idea to confront the owner after closing, saying how she was the manager of the store and it doesn't do well for some substitute to come in and make her look bad in front of her underlings. This was when the owner finally told her that he was the owner of the business and his word is final. You could see Karen's face flush almost instantly, and instead of swallowing that humble pie, she spat it out and slipped so deeply into denial, it's a wonder she ever recovered. Karen accused the owner of the business of lying about who he was, and he was just trying to make her look bad, supposedly. She even accused him that he was faking being paralyzed, and she knew this because she saw his legs moving. I don't know what she was thinking, but all she was doing was digging herself into a deeper hole, especially considering that this seemingly harmless, innocent, disabled old man was a military veteran that fought for our country, only to now be harassed by this ridiculous Karen manager. It got pretty awkward as the two pretty much devolved into shouting at each other, the owner desperately trying to rein control of the situation, while Karen was just making one stupid decision after another. In the end, the owner declared that Karen was fired. She stormed off saying that she would see about that. The next day, Karen turned up for work like nothing had happened. The owner opened up like yesterday, and the morning went quite well. Until Karen started her shift. She was there for about an hour until the manager came out of the office and saw her there. Things immediately kicked off. The other staff did their best to get Karen out of the shop, but she threatened to charge anyone who touched her with assault, so all we could do was try and head her towards the door while the owner called the cops. The police turned up pretty quickly, and after taking a statement from everyone, which took about an hour, they escorted Karen out of the shop and warned her never to go in again. The owner pressed charges, and he did get a restraining order against Karen, so now she cannot come anywhere near the whole town center, which is kind of funny. And yeah, Ripe Stars, if you enjoy these stories about Karen basically pretending to be the bosses of a business even though they aren't, and then messing with the real owners, then please don't forget to like the video and maybe even leave a comment if you want to support me. Thank you so much. And the next one is another revenge story. Back in the pre-cell phone/VHS tape era, my friends and I were renting a house next door to some entitled douchebags, ED from here on. We were in our late 20s, professionals just getting started in our careers. They were stereotypical college guys, lots of parties with music and drinking, but our house had good soundproofing and we both had their driveway and our driveway between us, so no big deal. The problem happened when football season started. So we were near the stadium and the EDs decided to make some extra money by selling parking spots. Not just in their driveway, in our own driveway too. We told them to stop doing that, but they did it again. We put trash cans in the way, they moved them and did it again. We told them that if they didn't stop it, we would have any cars in our driveway towed. Their justification was, "But you're not using the driveway." They did it again. We called a different tow company for each of the 5 cars that they had parked. The EDs freaked out and started pounding on our door. I reminded them that they had been warned twice and had persistently sold something that did not belong to them. I told the EDs that they could either pay the tow truck drivers for the call-out or deal with angry customers who had been towed and impounded. The EDs paid the tow trucks, we are talking roughly $100 per car. In cash, of course. That night, the EDs got very drunk. They spray painted our house and tore open a bunch of trash bags and dumped them on our porch. As I had said before, this was before the ubiquitous cameras and security surveillance. But since we were kind of expecting trouble with the EDs, I had borrowed a video camera from work and hooked it up to a VHS recorder with an 8-hour tape. None of them noticed the video camera that we had covering our driveway and porch. The EDs each got a misdemeanor charge of malicious destruction. Our landlord got the cleaning costs out of their landlord, who got it out of the EDs before terminating their lease. And the next one is another revenge Bench story. Backstory: I take the train every day from the suburbs to the city. The train station I use is small and only has 3 trains each morning that lead to the city. They are about half an hour apart and arrive at 7, 7:30 and 8 o'clock. I take the 7:30 train each morning, and a handicapped, able to walk but in very slow manner with 2 canes, man takes it along with the rest of us 7:30 commuters. The train station has a very strong bottleneck where people who just park their car file into a 3 to 4 foot corridor and follow it for 50 to 75 feet. It basically means you have to be in a single file line leading to the train. So our story begins yesterday. I was walking through the corridor and I see the handicapped man waiting for the train as per usual. I sit down at a bench waiting for my train, pop in some headphones and begin listening to some oldies to relax before my workday begins. Enter Inconsiderate Woman, or IW. She has a walk about her that just screams suburban entitled woman. You could just tell she had a way about her that was unpleasant. It's 7:28 and our train is arriving. She is standing behind the handicapped man and just seems agitated for some reason. The crowd begins flowing into the train and she is in a rush even though the train won't leave until everyone has entered. She is tapping her foot incessantly waiting for our double-caned man to step onto the train. He drops a cane and is forced to pick it up. IW cannot take it anymore and steps around him and accidentally hits him with her giant name brand expensive bag. He kind of sidesteps trying to catch himself and she walks onto the train without looking back. People around started helping him and he regains his composure and cane. We all get on and as I passed him, you could tell he was embarrassed. I felt awful. The rest of the day went normally and I awoke the next day to continue my routine. As I arrived to the train station and walked through the corridor at 7:20, I noticed a handicapped man is not there. 7:25, no sign. 7:28, still nothing. The train arrives and we all get on as usual, but he is nowhere to be found. I sit down and get a window seat. The conductor couldn't see them in the corridor, so he began leaving the station. I look out as the train is leaving and I can see through the corridor. Handicapped man has dropped one of his canes and behind him is IW absolutely livid. Red in the face, wanting to scream for the high heavens. She could not pass him if she tried. My first thought is that he dropped a cane on accident and will miss his train. Oh no. He stands up with both canes and smiles at us all watching through the window. I'm not sure if everyone else knew, but I did. He purposely dropped that cane and forced her to be late by at least half an hour to wherever she was going. Some may think he did it on accident, but that smile spoke to me. It was a smile of pure bliss and petty revenge. Update: this morning I was anxious to speak to the man and get his side. It's been a while since I've gone up to a complete stranger and asked them to converse, so I drank 2 extra cups of coffee as liquid morning courage. I arrived a little early this morning to make sure I didn't miss him and he was there just a few minutes after me. He did his usual slow walk on his way to a bench and I sat down next to him. This is the conversation that followed to the best of my recollection from 1 hour ago. Me: hi, I know this may sound a little bit weird, but I was there the other day when the lady hit you with her bag. He starts blushing. Me: oh, don't worry, I was also in the train window yesterday and I saw you two caught in the tunnel. Him: I felt awful about it. I just got these new canes a few weeks ago because I thought they would help my walking. My old ones were falling apart. Me: I thought it was pretty funny that you caused her to be late. He begins seeming defensive. Him: I didn't mean for it to happen. Me: I've been on this train line for years now and I've seen you around. I don't think I've ever thought of you as a bad guy. What I mean is that I think she got what she deserved for hitting you down and not helping you the other day. Him: people are always rushing around in life. I was the same way when I was her age. I think it's a gift that I cannot walk as fast as people around me. It forces me to slow down and take in my surroundings. I live second to second and not day to day like most people. Me: that's a good way to look at things. He smiles and leans a little bit closer to me. Him: what did she look like behind me? Was she fuming? I smile. Me: I knew it. That smile you had was awesome, and I was grinning from ear to ear the whole train ride. Him: I'm glad I'm not the only one who received joy from that. He then stood up and slowly walked to get in the line forming for the arriving train. I hope that this update was as enjoyable to read as it was to talk about with him. I know there was more questions posted in the comments, but it seemed like he didn't want to keep talking about it. We both knew what happened and that was good enough for him. I hope you enjoyed this 2-part tale. And yeah, ripe stars, honestly, people like Karen who disrespect others and especially disabled people and especially elderly, they deserve even worse than this Karen got. I think missing a train or getting too late for work is not enough in this case, but at least it's a petty revenge start. Either way, the next one is a story from r/am I the a-hole. My boyfriend, 34, of 3 years, just moved into my 32 female 3-bedroom home 5 months ago. This home has been in my family for the past 70 years. I have a 5-year-old son and he has a 13-year-old daughter. I made sure I moved all of my stuff out of my office and put it in the loft so she could have her own bedroom. I think it was about a month into him living there that his daughter wanted to move in with us full time, as she does not have her own bedroom at her mom's place. I was completely fine with this. Anyways, I started running into a lot of problems not even a week after she moved in full time. She became really entitled and demanding. Like demanding that my son trade rooms with her because it has a bigger closet and pitched a huge fit when I said no. Or demanding that we buy her expensive clothes or makeup because I'm a real estate agent and I have supposedly loads of money. Call me crazy, but I'm not about to drop $120 on a pair of ripped up jeans or drop $200 on 3 pieces of makeup. Her dad works, but his income is significantly less than mine, so she really just expected me to be the one who spoils her rotten. Or pushing her plate of food away and saying, "I'm not eating that, but you can cook me something else." I can deal with her childish tantrums and slamming doors, but she has now started to put holes in my walls and my boyfriend makes excuses saying that he is used to do the same thing and she will grow out of it. She torments my son. If he says anything to her, she literally always responds with, "Oh, you're talking to me? Swap rooms with me and I will think about responding." Her dad literally never attempts to correct her behavior and I'm told I'm being too harsh if I do. The tip of the mountain for me here was 2 weeks ago. There was a foul smell coming from her room, so I asked her to clean it because you couldn't see the floor. She said, no. It's my room, so I don't see why you have any say on how I treat my personal space. Her father actually agreed with her. 3 days later, the smell had become so bad that I lost it. I told her to clean it or she was moving out. This was after I saw at least 6 used menstrual pads thrown throughout her room, as well as half-eaten food and moldy drink cups. She starts crying and saying I'm treating her like she is Cinderella and I'm acting like an evil stepmom. I told my boyfriend either he handles it or they are both gone. He clearly didn't believe me because he told me that I need to lighten the F up because his daughter is having a rough time transitioning and being away from her mom. I gave it a week but nothing changed. I went and got an eviction notice drawn up and gave them 30 days to vacate my property and told him that he's lucky I'm not suing for damages. He says I'm an a-hole for throwing away 3 years because I cannot handle not having my own way. So Reddit, am I the a-hole here? And yeah, ripe stars, let me know what you think about this in the comments. Do you think that OP is the a-hole for vacating these people or not? A person in the comments said, "Oh hell no, he is a crap father for letting his daughter behave that way and then getting angry at you for putting your foot down on her greedy and disgusting behavior." Yeah, bye. Like father, like daughter. You are definitely not the a-hole here. I don't know why you would think otherwise, so what if she has to share a room with a sibling when she moves back in with her mom? It's not like she is homeless. I mean, I feel like maybe she would benefit from therapy and learning some empathy, but this is so beyond the pale for a parent to deal with, especially when she is allowed to get away with it. In addition, this type of behavior is something your son should not be a witness to, let alone be around someone so out of control. They are putting holes in your home and making at least one room a near biohazard. I would also be worried about how your now ex-boyfriend would treat your son. Comment number 2, not the a-hole. This man and his daughter both need to learn that actions have consequences, and for the sake of your son and your own well-being, please follow through and make them leave your home. They have both acted entitled and taken advantage of you repeatedly. As a result, they have to go. It's not your responsibility to worry about whether she will have to share a room if she moves back in with her mom. That is something she and her father should have considered before she disrespected you and your home and bullied a 5-year-old. The next one is titled, "The Most Entitled Karen Ever." I gave birth to my daughter on Tuesday and then was released on Thursday. On Thursday we saw our pediatrician after being released from the hospital. It turns out my daughter's bilirubin jaundice levels were highish. She was born at 37 weeks due to me having pre-eclampsia, so she's technically early to the doctors and they are being precautious in checking her levels don't get into a dangerous level. Since Thursday we've had to go to the pediatrician/hospital on the weekend since doctors' offices are closed to get her blood drawn to keep checking. On Saturday we had a doctor's order prescription to have her blood drawn at the lab, but had to be taken and wait in the ER. There were 3 to 4 people sitting in the ER when we arrived. Get checked in, my fiance and I sit waiting to be registered. The ER desk worker recognized us from the other day, I guess from when I was in the hospital giving birth, and asked about us and my daughter. How she is, how many days she is, why she is here, etc. I would also like to point out that my daughter is extremely quiet for a newborn as well, literally never made a peep in the waiting room. The registration woman comes out with that rolling cart not even 2 minutes later, walks over to us and begins the process when old lady Karen pipes up, who was on the other side of the woman. I've been waiting 2 hours, check me in first. 1. That has to be completely false due to how quickly the woman came out to us and how that the ER currently was. 2. She literally cut the woman off as she's asking us questions, which is rude regardless. Don't get me wrong, I can understand it being annoying, someone getting attention before you when you were there first, but there are nicer and politer ways of going about it. The registration woman gave the woman a look and then to me sympathetically. My daughter was not fuzzy or anything, so I had no problem waiting, gave her a small nod as if to say, I understand. And then the woman began checking in Karen. Only Karen did not speak to the woman, only shoved her paperwork into the woman's hand and sat quietly again. Once the registration woman was done, I think just confirming certain things due to her not needing anything from Karen, checked us in, thanked both my party and the woman, to which of course my fiance and I thanked her back out of politeness. Karen glared over at the worker and us. After about 15 to 20 minutes, Karen told, not asked, told a worker to tell the ER receptionist that she's been waiting 2 hours and to call the lab technicians down again. The ER receptionist gets the message from the passing worker, gives Karen a look and proceeds to call/page the lab again while making a slightly annoyed sound. After a moment, the receptionist turned to my fiance and I, apologizing to us, saying the technician would be down in a moment and that on Saturdays they only have 1 blood technician. A few minutes later, the very lovely technician came down and immediately came to us, helping us gather our stuff out of kindness. The receptionist made some sort of comment about Karen is also getting a lab done, to which the tech made an kind of sound. The feeling I got was the receptionist told the tech on the phone about Karen causing issues and that an infant was waiting. Well, good, you can follow us. My fiance and I took an extra second to get the car seat picked up, diaper bag, etc. So Karen had a moment to stand with the tech who was complimenting us on our daughter, to which Karen said nicely but slightly smug, "Yeah, what a cute baby." We took a short walk to the lab area, Karen speed walking past us talking to the tech about how she doesn't even understand why she's here, she could be doing other things on a Saturday, she has been waiting 2 hours, etc. While the tech is nicely smiling and agreeing, apologizing that she's the only blood technician on the weekends, we approach the room, to which the tech turns, smiles smugly and tells Karen, "Ma'am, you can have a seat right here, you all can come right inside." Karen, "What?" "Yes ma'am, the seat's right here, we'll be done in just a minute." Karen huffed, giving my, again 4-day-old baby a look as if it is her fault that Karen was a complete and utter pain in the butt, making the receptionist and tech want to make her life even harder. Again, my daughter has not made a sound and was perfectly fine. Karen easily could have gone before us and both of us were here for blood to be drawn. But I guess Karen had to wait even longer due to her sucky attitude towards the staff. And with this, we have reached the end of the video. However, if you cannot get enough of my content, please check out my endless playlist, where you can find thousands of hours of content. In addition, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel to not miss any of my daily uploads. Thank you so much in advance, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.